5 News at Noon starts now.
Students and teachers in Rogers and Fort Smith head back to the classroom today. We're on their first day back in school. And President Trump prepares for his one-on-one meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. What the Trump administration is expecting from the discussions. Well, thank you so much for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Tiffany Lee here with Danny Cassidy.
Hello.
Danny, I think this might be one of the last waves of first day of school. And one thing's been for sure all week, it's been hot for that first day.
Yeah, it's been hot. Whether you started last week, whether you're starting this week, it's hot and humid, and it looks like it's going to be more of the same as we kick off the start of next week. Here's a live look out in Fort Smith, one of the school districts starting today. 90 degrees currently there with some sunshine, but that dew point's at 73, so it feels like close to 100 there, what that feels like at 98. Some of the other values across the region, you can see the River Valley looking a little bit crispy there. Mid to upper 90s, 100 there in Clarksville, a little bit lower in Northwest Arkansas, upper 80s and low 90s, but still pretty hot no matter where you are in the area. We'll see in Northwest Arkansas eventually reaching into the mid 90s, maybe close to the upper 90s later this afternoon, before finally dropping off into the low to mid 90s later this evening. Then for the River Valley, sitting into the triple digits, some getting close to 105. Maybe being aided by some very isolated rain chances. And those rain chances are starting to pop up a little bit across the area. You can see those kind of little green blips. So we'll see those rain chances throughout the afternoon as well as into the day tomorrow and this weekend. So we'll talk more about the rain chances as well as the heat coming up in your full forecast. Tiffany?
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, Rogers students are back to class today, but for some, it's more than just the first day of school. They're returning to a campus that was shut down following severe storm damage from last May's tornadoes. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi gives us an inside look at the newly renovated Greer Lingle Middle School and has more on what the moment means for the whole Rogers community.
Around 14 months ago, the roof here at Greer Lingle Middle School was not here. It was damaged by the tornadoes last May. And today, students are returning to class.
It's great that they're back in this year.
The doors to Greer Lingle Middle School are open again.
They have a whole new start, and it's like they've not even been here yet.
But that was not the same story last year. Nearly everything but the structure had to be rebuilt.
As we came into this building, it was just basically a total disaster. It was dark, it was dreary, it was still dripping wet. In a lot of the areas, there was still debris all over the floor. And as people came in, this is more than just a place that they work. This is a place they care deeply about. But I distinctly remember that multiple staff members couldn't get past this point, that they had just broken down in tears.
Superintendent Dr. Jeff Perry says crews spent over a year replacing HVAC systems, roofing, windows, and gutting classrooms from the inside out. Students and staff spent the 2024-2025 school year in mobile units, a temporary fix while the building underwent major repairs.
As a parent, we didn't know where our kids were going to go up until a couple weeks before. They were working overnights just to get the trailers done. Traffic was ridiculous. But this year they have a whole brand new facility, and it's way better parking, as you can see, way smoother, way better facilities.
Despite being displaced, Dr. Perry says students at Lingle still made academic gains, something district leaders credit to strong teachers and resilient students. And now he says it's just nice to see smiling faces walking through the doors again.
It's just really exciting. And it actually gives you a good feeling in your heart to be able to bring them back home.
A couple projects are still underway. A new safe room expected to come this fall, as well as the gym still needing repairs on the flooring. But Dr. Perry says they are definitely in the home stretch and just happy to welcome students and teachers back. In Rogers, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Jacob. Well, Fort Smith Public Schools are back today as well. This year, a new law for teachers aims to help them with costs during the school year. Arkansas lawmakers increased the tax credit for teachers buying supplies for the classroom from $500 to $1,000. But the Arkansas Education Association president says teachers need to keep track of those receipts. So if they're audited, they can prove that the money was used for its purpose. And today, new students will start moving into the University of Arkansas Fort Smith. First-year students can move in until 1 today. A cookout lunch will then be provided for students and families. Move-in will continue through this Friday at the Lions Den and Sebastian Commons. UAFS says drivers can expect heavier traffic around Waldron and Grand Avenue throughout the week. Well, happening today, Arkansas state legislators will meet in Rogers to discuss the Franklin County Prison Project. Multiple county judges and the sheriffs from Sebastian, Washington, and Benton counties will also join the meeting at the Rogers Convention Center. The discussion will include the State Department of Corrections needs and projections, as well as the impact of overcrowding on public safety. There will be time for public comment at the end. Governor Sanders announced plans for the 3,000-bed prison last fall, but the project has faced pushback from community members and political leaders. President Trump is just days away from a face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump says that he will know within minutes if Putin is serious about peace talks with Ukraine. But first, he's focusing on the arts. Teron Small has more details from the White House.
President Trump arrived at the Kennedy Center to be on hand for the announcement of this year's honorees. Trump has already led an overhaul of the Kennedy Center's leadership and taken a strong interest in shaping the direction of the Performing Arts Center. The stop comes ahead of his meeting set for Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, just outside Anchorage, Alaska. This morning, Trump spoke again with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European allies.
We continue to be very much engaged with President Zelensky and the Ukrainians, but also our allies in Europe as well.
The White House said the Trump-Putin meeting will not end with deliverables, instead calling it a first step of what could be an eventual peace deal between Russia and Ukraine.
He hopes in the future there can be a trilateral meeting with these three leaders to finally bring this conflict to an end.
Zelensky told reporters he supports the Trump meeting, but added on social media, quote, "There is no sign that the Russians are preparing to end the war."
Этим все сказано.
Russia's foreign minister says the only way to end the war is for Russia to retain the Ukrainian land it's gained in the fighting, something Zelensky says goes against his country's constitution. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Well, Zelensky also spoke with European leaders this morning, where he called Putin's meeting with Trump a bluff by the Russian leader. Well, in D.C., the U.S. Supreme Court is being asked to once again take up the issue of same-sex marriage and possibly overturn a 10-year-old decision. Former Kentucky clerk Kim Davis has filed a new appeal. She refused to issue same-sex marriage licenses in 2015, citing religious beliefs. A federal jury later ordered her to pay $100,000 to two couples that she denied. Now she wants that ruling overturned and is also urging the court to reconsider the case that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The request is one of thousands sent to the court each year, with fewer than 100 heard. We're learning more about a deadly shooting in Atlanta. Authorities say Patrick Joseph White opened fire at the CDC headquarters late last week, firing hundreds of rounds and killing one police officer. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation found the gunman had expressed suicidal thoughts, and a search of his home uncovered writing showing his anger over COVID-19 vaccines. After Friday's shooting, healthcare workers and gun safety advocates say they're pushing for tougher gun laws.
We must treat misinformation not just as a communications issue, but as a public health emergency in its own right.
While no one at the CDC was injured, 33-year-old DeKalb County police officer David Rose was killed. Police say the shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Well, check this out. A Little Rock native, former Razorback, and current NBA pro is adding another title to his list of philanthropists. Now, Bobby Portis announced that he's joining the board of directors for Feeding America. Portis has worked alongside the organization for more than 4 years, funding mobile food distributions, supporting food drives, and using his platform to raise awareness about food insecurity, especially among children. Portis says growing up in Arkansas, he could always recognize the resources out there that helped his family.
It's bigger than hoops. It's all about giving back. It's all about impacting someone else's life, making sure that, they know that someone cares. Growing up, we didn't always have the answers, right? My mom had help along the way. She had 4 kids, worked tirelessly to take care of all of us, but along the way, there was always someone that kind of stepped in and gave us a helping hand.
Portis played basketball at Hall High School right in Little Rock, and then for the Razorbacks from 2013 to 2015 before he was drafted to the Chicago Bulls. Well, the Outrigger Cup soccer tournament will kick off in Springdale today. The tournament will feature the first international matches for the Marshall Islands national team. Teams are presenting the Turks and Caicos Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands are also participating, along with the Ozark United under-19 team. The opening match is tonight between the Virgin Islands and Turks and Caicos. The Marshall Islands team will have their first match tomorrow. All the matches are happening at Bulldog Stadium in Springdale.